All right, remember, disclaimer, I try to keep these under 15 minutes. I'm doing 30 days. I say whatever I want. This microphone it's difficult when I move away from it. I have to bend down because I set up and tear down in one of these WeWork spaces, this room, like every day. It's not frustrating, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. It's not that frustrating. I'll explain. Here, I'm going to show you something. Just hold on a second. I'm going to have to modify this, but this is just like, what is it, a 1450 Pelican case that I got, and the foam's all cut out, and what I do is it's in the trunk of the car. I can carry it down the street. I look like a crazy person, either a hitman or a photographer. I mean, wearing all black. I mean, very similar, especially if the tattoos are out there. Like, hey, are you a photographer? I'm like, no, it's for podcasting. I don't know what's better or worse. Anyway, so tripod, monopod, ring light, iPhone, Shure, these Manfrotto stands. And by the way, these Manfrotto stands are the best. So I bought a whole bunch of them just because they all sit the same way. They're super professional, like the grade. And then also I find the same height. So say, for example, if I'm doing similar things and everything needs to be at the same height, they're all just default at the same height, okay? There you go. Being transparent. So now we're on day 13 of 30. So now you know if the idea is business ownership, we're building the perfect business. You want to have the perfect ecosystem, all the shortcuts. We want to get to the point where you're just looking at a dashboard and doing whatever you want. And you're being a digital leader, you're getting involved in the business, and you know how to read data, you got ROI, you're driving the revenue line, all that bullshit. But at the same time, you're not distracted, and you're having a good time, and you can scale, and you don't have to clone yourself, right? These are weapons in small, medium business, because the problem is a lot of small, medium business, the monopod's leaning up against the desk, so we might have some vibrations here. I'll try my best. The problem is that you usually start a business because you're the person that knows how it works, okay? And because you know how it works, you're stuck in it, okay? And if you're stuck in it, that's when you become a process defender because you don't think anybody else can do as good a job as you. Like you can't buy talent. You also think that, your value is only there if you're in it. Right? There's a lot of weird psychological things going on, but these 30 days should be a slow roll out of your business. However you want to look at that. I say exit strategy, but it doesn't mean that you have to fold or sell. It just means that maybe you can go do something else or open another business and still have this one working and revenue being generated more probably, okay? Make it leaner. There's so many things. This time, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to fix this monopod. Just hold on a second. My apologies, because I'm not going to reshoot this if it's good. Remember I said be operations centric. Okay? Be very workflow, process oriented. Okay? Because the ideas of all these other these and those in the formula that I always talk about, where they could be other businesses doing things, or now you know if they could be a remote department, or they're the talents of the human inside the institution for the team, whatever. Okay, what I'm saying is that the operations would be things in the modeled business being the app stack, and then there's tools in the toolbox, whatever. It doesn't matter what type of business you are. Some of these things that you connect them with, you need to understand the difference between business and personal. So that's why I'm saying business versus personal, okay? Here's some anecdotes. Anecdotes are good, right? A lot of business owners out there, when they started their business or they start their business, they get really heavily reliant on their phone And they also start to use their email address as for a lot of things other than just work-related business stuff, okay? So what happens is getting away from that, especially if you've tied that email or phone number to so many things, is a fucking disaster. However, I'm going to say that take that Band-Aid and rip it off right now. In any way, form, fashion you can if you understand what I'm talking about, this will change your goddamn life, okay? And here's why I'm going to tell you this. Because of where the world has headed and is now, is in the favor of this new professionalism that understands that life exists and work exists. Hence, this work-life balance change since pandemic, whatever you want to call it, accelerated it. This personal and business, this work and pleasure, time on, time off, all this stuff is now the new professionalism. All right, so people understand that you have a personal life and you have other things to do, even if it occurs during the 9 to 5. This is the new world. People say the new normal. Ugh. But anyway, take what you want from it. The learn here is that you can actually have and advertise inside and outside your institution other things to do other than work. And it's not unprofessional to tell the world. It's not unprofessional to tell anybody, because everybody's on the same team when it comes to that now, okay? So, but getting you out of that ecosystem you created where you're so attached, one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to think these things through, okay? Your business owner protocol is going to have to change if you want to own the perfect business and have it not drag you back in unnecessarily, okay? So, some of these things are a little much, but I'm going to tell you that these are parameters for you as an owner for the perfect business that will really help, okay? Really help. Doing them all or some, I suggest all, okay? Ready for the first one? Uh-oh. That's the one that I'm sure a lot of people were like, don't write down 2 phones. Please don't write down 2 phones. I hate having one phone enough as it is. The reason why is because I'm going to go into a story. So that's why I'm going to write down 2 phones. It's easier when you have physical contact with the phone to use it too often. Okay? Or it will control you with notifications if you're not very good at determining how to engineer the notifications on the phone so that you're in control of yourself, not the phone in control of you. The phone usually is in control of you. So big ups to anybody out there that uses a separate phone number for personal and a separate phone number for business. Okay? Big ups to anybody out there that canceled a phone number when they were scaling because they couldn't get off of that. They couldn't get away from the number. So they were like, yeah, but why don't I just get another one? Good for you. Because even better yet, take it away from your cell service and add it into the pool of other numbers forwarded somewhere for your gateway, for example, if you're really that worried, okay? That will change your life, okay? Change your life right there. Now you have 2 phones, potentially. There are ways around this. 1 phone, 1 SIM card, 1 cell phone provision using applications like OpenPhone or Grasshopper to, buy another telephone number, have it associated or forwarded through an application environment in the cloud, right? and have it, you can adjust the times of availability through the software so that only the notifications come at the certain times you're available, and they can also tap into other applications, etc. That's why this is awesome, because everything can talk to everything when it's all cloud, right? So that's another option. I like the 2 phones idea, 2 SIM cards, 2 different ways of operating, right? Because, in my case, I have a phone that I don't have to worry about. It's just for the automated method. And then the other one has nothing on it other than things that I would probably look at, like social media, maybe Reddit, YouTube, Spotify, that kind of stuff. But as far as engagement is concerned, that'll change a lot of things. If anything, a different phone number. If anything, a different digital cell phone number, like a virtual number, right? You can, and then if you open up that Pandora's box, the virtual numbers, that's how you can give numbers to your team, and that's how you can be better SMS and phone inside your team, knowing that everybody's using a service that's kind of all together, but it's professional. And then when you have outside lines, they can be shared in terms of traffic. That's why I wanted to mention open phone. Okay? Open phone is dope, because that's what it does. It changes your relationship with telephone numbers because they can be shared in a team. It's a collaborative portal for telephone numbers and SMS. So you can actually see all the calls, it's all recorded. Just go look at it. I don't want to go that far down that rabbit hole, but that whole idea of 2 different phones, 2 different numbers, it opens up positively a Pandora's box for you as an owner to understand how you don't need that number the same way anymore, especially if you're going to scale. And then you're also changing your time. You're becoming less available, but you're not, hurting the business, because we're engineering these solutions. We're not just dropping these things, we're not just killing these services and then hoping everybody figures it out. No, there's a solution to that. But you being distracted and engaged unnecessarily is a big deal. It's a massive problem. You can't have it if you want to, have the perfect business for you. Remember, I'm talking about for you, and it works still. So now let's talk about email. All right? It's very, very difficult to extract yourself out of your professional email routine if you've used your professional email address. Actually, sorry. If you've used your professional email address to brag about the business that you own just by giving out your email address, because the domain is your URL. So if someone sees if you give out your email address, they go, oh, they can probably, extract the URL in their brain and type it in and be, suddenly at your website. And that's why you do it. Also, because it's like advertising as well. Bragging, advertising, and it's email. Here's the problem about that that I'm trying to get to. Once again, they can get you, right? Because the email address, here's the problem. The people on one side of the fence will assume that email address is being checked as often and as frequently as they do. That's one. So they're not going to think it's a function, or they're not going to think it's a bot, or they're not going to understand filters or autoflow through other SaaS platforms. They're not going to get that, so they're going to email it professionally thinking that they're going to get you, the CEO or the founder. Okay? This is a problem, especially if we're building the perfect business. So what I say to everybody out there is make sure you have a personal email account and a work email. Technically, if everything's working the way that it should, the email the business email for you, the founder, is almost unnecessary. As you keep listening to me, I can explain why. Okay, but personal email is. I'm not even going to write it down. Personal email is important, and today go register a Gmail address personally if you don't already have one, that is more aligned with you personally if you haven't done that, and start to feed all the personal nature things into that email. Move everything out of the business email into that personal, all of it, Every single thing, resubscribe. It might be a good time to clear up, clean up, and change, okay? Because what's going to happen now is that email that is your human name at yourcompanyname.com, right? What happens is it's going to get a lot less traffic because it's probably littered unnecessarily with garbage, right? Also now that it's getting like your better understanding of that email address, now we can start to play with it, right? Because you're separating the whole thing. We're going to turn your work email into a function, all right? A function. So now you can channel these emails better because you have a different life with a different email address, okay? Telephone number, email address, right? Personal, business. This is like, I'm so glad I'm doing this because if these videos are being watched in order, and I mean, some of this is chaos. There's recipe cards over here that I'm trying to figure out the order to while I'm doing this, because unfortunately I don't want to do this in some sort of order other than spontaneous. That's how I work. Path of least resistance, stream of consciousness. Anyway, there is some order, but I'm telling you that as I do this, I'm starting to get we're getting warmer because the tutorial is going to match the practical. It's matching the practical. So each step of the way is going to start to, we're getting warm. We're going to get hot soon, but we're getting warm because now I can start to really dive into things that I do, right? In the automated method, like how I've removed myself from the automated method, but I'm still in the automated method in terms of making decisions and doing things like this, executive decisions and dashboards only. And in my case, story branding, which is practical, teaching, I guess, or influencing, whatever you want to call this that I'm doing right now.